Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today is a very interesting video because I'll be sharing with you how you can actually stop failing or stop feeling like you're failing. So all of these ideas I've kind of accumulated by reading a ton of books about this topic, and today I'll be sharing them all with you. So let's go. Okay, so the first kind of distinction we need to make here is we need to understand or kind of define what failing actually is. So what is the big difference between failing and just making a mistake? So here the difference is if you make a mistake, it's just not the correct thing to do. It's just not the correct answer, or it's anything that isn't really correct. And then failing, on the other hand, has this kind of emotional attachment to it, where you feel like you're a failure. And it's this kind of added emotion and the kind of emotional implication of failure that really is the distinction between failure on the one side and then just making a mistake on the other side. So that's all nice and good. Now we know what the difference is between failing and making a mistake and what failing actually is. But how does that bring us closer to not actually being a failure or stopping to fail at certain things? Well, here the kind of big idea that a lot of people have is if I just practice hard enough in a certain skill and I get really good at, I don't know, drawing, for example, I'm not going to fail at drawing anymore, because with a lot of practice, I'm just not going to fail in it anymore. That's what practice is for, right? Well, you're wrong, because if you practice a certain skill, like drawing, more and more, well, you're going to start attempting things that are harder and harder. So by nature, you're going to try things that you haven't tried out before, because that's the whole point of practice, right? And then again, you're going to come to a point where you're going to fail because this is something new. This is something you haven't done before. It's a harder version of drawing, for example. So how do you kind of work around that? If practice isn't the answer to stopping to fail at certain things, then what is? So here the kind of big thought or the kind of main point that you need to understand is that by practicing, in theory, in a perfect world, even though I just showed you that that's not actually the case, in theory, you might be able to stop failing at a certain task. If you can do it 100% perfectly all the time, okay, you're going to stop failing at that one task. But we only have that amount of time in our life. And then if you try something else, let's say you're acing drawing, there's no way you're ever going to fail in drawing. Well, the next time you, I don't know, play soccer, you're going to fail because it's something you haven't done before. So even if you kind of perfect one skill, you're just going to end up failing in another skill. So how do we solve this? Well, the key here is that if you really practice drawing, chances are you really identify with that skill. You identify with being someone that draws. If you meet a new person, you're going to say, "Hi, my name is Sophie and I love drawing. I'm an artist," for example. You're going to use that skill of yours that you have spent time practicing to actually identify yourself. And here the big thing is that this is where the kind of emotional attachment of failure comes in. Because if you identify with something and you make a mistake in it, well, it's going to hurt you more emotionally. And because that's where that emotional kind of component comes in, because you made a mistake in a skill that you identify with, that's going to convert to failure. So you're going to start feeling like you failed. Whereas if you identify as an artist and you, I don't know, let's say you don't really do a lot of sports and you go for a run and you can't make the 5K, well, then you're not necessarily going to feel like a failure. Just be like, "Oh, okay, I tried this new thing. No biggie, it's a mistake, whatever, I'll go back to drawing." Because you don't really identify with running in this case. So how do we get rid of kind of this emotional attachment to this one skill, or just feeling like it's part of ourselves, really identifying with it? Well, here kind of the big idea is to just broaden the number of skills that we identify with. If I identify with running, if I identify with being an artist, and I make a mistake in one of my paintings, it's gonna hurt, but I'm not gonna feel like a total failure because I still have running. I can still identify as a runner. Whereas if I only identify as an artist and I make a mistake in art, it's gonna feel like I'm no true artist anymore. Who am I? Oh my god, my whole world is crashing. What is my identity? Am I even good at art? What is happening? But if you identify with both or even more things, you'll have all of these other things that you can kind of lean back on if one of them goes wrong. You make a rubbish painting, that's okay, just put painting to the side for a while because you're a painter and you're a runner. Go to running, practice that skill. Oh, that doesn't go too well, go back to the other thing, and you have more room to switch around, and you won't really feel like a failure because the more times you can switch around, the more used to making mistakes you're gonna be, and it's not gonna be as kind of emotionally hurtful. And on this note, I actually want to share a quote that I actually came up with you guys. I know, kind of weird, but whatever. Because I used to have a blog 1 or 2 years ago. It stopped now. I don't really do it anymore, but I came up with this really cool quote, at least in my opinion. Let me know down below if you also like it. During that time, and it's basically a quote where I kind of compare personal growth with a tree. So I'm just gonna read it to you guys. I have my phone right here, so let's go. If you put all of your effort and self-worth into one goal you're trying to achieve and let this define who you are, then there will come a point where if things don't go so well, your self-worth will topple over and you will feel lost, just like a really tall and skinny tree trunk that was hit by a breeze. However, if you grow and branch out like a tree and not let any single thing that you do define who you are, then you will withstand a setback in any of these activities, like a large, lush tree that barely moves in the wind. I really like that quote because it just really brings home the point that I was trying to make in this video. So kind of the main takeaway for all of you guys is to just, if you want to stop feeling like you're failing, like you're doing really, really bad at any given thing, any given activity or skill or whatever, just branch out your skills. Don't just focus on that one skill and let it define you. Okay guys, so that was today's video. I hope I really was able to help you guys out. So as I said, these are all ideas that I've collected over the years from a ton of different books, kind of organized in my own mind and now shared with you. Since I kind of started branching out my own identity, it really helped me out to just grow into different things, but also have mistakes have less of an impact on myself and kind of feel better about myself as well. So if this video helped you out in any way, shape or form, go and leave a like down below because that would really show me that you enjoyed this video and it would just be really awesome. Also subscribe if you're not subscribed already. To see more videos like these with a bunch of tips and tricks and just other fun stuff. Hit the notification bell and stay tuned to next week's video. Stay safe and I'll see you soon.